Today's one of my favorite ones in the holiday handlers. And I just saw good old Mike Castor. Mike Castor and I have been doing the holiday handlers now. I don't even know how many years. It's been quite some time. It's been at least, I was going to say, did you say 4 or 5 years? Yeah. So I learned about the holiday handlers when I actually went up to Michigan with my coach, Jeff, and been able to take what he taught me and then really, really develop it on scripts. Part of the book that I'm working on here that has been a real fun time, turning scripts into conversations, is being able to take these holiday. Now, here's the thing, guys. I'm going to share with you before we get into it, just a little preface as people are coming on. Facebook world, if you can for me, just say a good afternoon for you, so that way I know who's here. That way I can help. Recognize that you're here, as well as if you have questions, it helps me out. But thank you for those that are on the Zoom world here and Facebook. Thank you. But here's the thing. Some of these you're going to hear, a lot of them were part of when we were dealing with a situation when we had a challenge the last 2 years, when we had this lack of inventory and we had to be creative and we had to come outside the box. And so this is what's the same thing is going to be taking place, but a little bit more zoned in on the holidays. Hey, Michelle, thanks for being on here this morning. And so you're going to be hearing that. This is short and sweet. It's going to be able to put a lot of information. So if you got a pen and paper near you, you're going to want to take these notes to be able to have, as well as I want to be engaging. I want you to ask questions. Facebook world, for those out there, you're going to have to just put it in the chat. If you want to join our Zoom, you certainly can. It's bz3coachingllc.com. And that will give you the opportunity to come in here. I'll put it in the chat too. So if you want to be able to ask questions and talk, you certainly can. And then I'll share with you later on some of our other coaching programs that we got later on this week, the last 2 weeks. So we got quite a few things coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So without further ado, we're going to dive right into things. I'm excited. Last time I did a webinar, I had a lot of problems with the video screen. So I'm glad everybody is on video, and it's nice not talking to myself. So I appreciate that. I'll go back and forth between the gallery. I'll go back and forth between the speaker and Facebook world as well. So we have a couple people on there. So my name is Brock Zevan. There are a couple people that are new that I don't know, and I appreciate you being on here. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm a real estate coach. I am a life coach, a business coach, and a dad. And so just blessed and honored to be able to be here this morning. As I shared with you before, I've learned the holiday handlers literally about 5 years ago. I've been practicing them ever since. The biggest month I had in December was literally right around $2.4 million. I typically do over 1.3 each December based off of these holiday handlers. Nobody's gotten upset. I'm very fortunate in my capping year with EXP. I finished off capping earlier this year. So I really try to make all my money as I can because I renew on January 1st. So when you're making $1.3 to $2 million, it's a nice $30,000 to $60,000 a month to be able to help out my my Christmas. So Greg, if you can just double check the echo on that, or I think your microphone. There you go.
I don't have audio.
Oh, there we go. Gotcha. So with that being said, please make sure you ask me a lot of questions. This is here to help you. It works all the time because you will start to hear if you make these phone calls, and whether or not even sphere of influence, people will tell you this. I want to wait until after the holidays. I'm going to push it till the beginning of the new year. And these are the holiday handlers that I use to be able to go through this. So there's about 13 of them, 12 to 13 of them. And so we're going to get going and rocking and rolling on here. So the number one thing when people tell you, hey, I think I'm gonna wait. I don't want people coming through my house or anything else like that. Here's one of the big things that I share them, guys. Only serious buyers are looking right now. Okay. So serious buyers are the only ones that are really looking right now. Would it be safe to say out here, give me a thumbs up if you agree to this, that typically weather is not the best during November and December? It's a little bit, I don't know about you yesterday, but Halloweening probably not so much fun. It was gloomy. It gets dark early. A lot of people, remember, when are we doing our showings, guys? Typically in the evenings, right? All right. That clock is turning back. We got to turn our clocks back very soon. At least I think they did. I don't know if they discontinued it. I know there's been some talk with the government on that, but the clock gets turned back. So we are showing property at night. We are showing property in the dark. We are showing the properties when it's raining. So we know we don't have looky-loos out there. We got some serious buyers out there. So the first one is understanding serious buyers. And then my ad lib, my conversation part is understanding that it gets dark earlier, it's colder. A lot of people might have to bring their kids with them. It's not a real fun time going to look at homes right now. So these are serious buyers coming to look at your property. Now, number 2 has been something we've been saying for 2 years. So I just want you to write this down. There is less competition. There is less competition. All right. So we know the competition conversations that we've been having. But let me just add this to you. There's extremely less competition even in the wintertime. Okay. There is less competition even in the wintertime because people are preparing. I mean, we're not going to get as many listings during the wintertime. I mean, our fourth quarter and beginning of our first quarter typically are lowest, right? So this is very important to understand. Like our competition's even less right now. Okay. Please, everybody, if you can, raise your hand or give me a thumbs up. Are there homes that sell in the MLS November, December, and January? How many would agree that if we went into the MLS, there are homes that are sold in November, December, January? Would we agree to that? Yes. Right, Greg? Okay. So Dee shaking her head, Christian shaking her head. Yes, we understand that. All right. A lot of thumbs up in the Facebook world on that. Right. So we know, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I just want you to know that I know 100%. I could show you in the MLS that there are homes that are sold in November, December, and January. Would you like your home to be one of them? That's a script, guys. It's exactly what it is. I'm going to say it again for those taking notes. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, would you agree that in November, December, January, there are homes that are being sold right now? I actually can show you my MLS. Would you like to be one of them? Well, of course. Or they're going to give me their objection of what their true root of it is. But it's a really good thing when there's less competition. Why we use that is because we can show them that there are still buyers and there are not a lot of homes out there for them to take advantage. Now, here's another question that we're going to get asked. Okay. How many of you heard this? Raise your hand. Should I decorate? Should I decorate for the holidays right now? Should I put the tree up? Should I put the stockings out? All right. And so I do have to say, and so it's pretty obvious when you go into a house. That's why it's very, very important to have this conversation. Okay. When you go into a listing presentation, okay, I have one next week, and the guy wants me to do all the information or share. Hey, can you tell me what I need to do? Is there a way you could just tell me over the phone? I said, no, I have to come take a look at your property. Okay. This is even more important during the holidays. And let me explain to you why. How many of you have driven by the Christmas lights and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't even see their house? Or, oh my goodness, they have more balloons and pop-ups and blow-ups than you possibly can imagine. Okay. Ding, 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 ding. That's a pretty good sign that if I go into their house, I'm probably not going to see their countertops, their kitchen table. I'm not going to see like their fireplace. It's going to be just a Christmas Griswold like masterpiece in there. Okay. And I use the word masterpiece because they're so excited by it. At that very moment, you have to have a conversation with, yes, I want you to decorate, but within reason. Okay. I want you to take all your Christmas decorations down and put them in the garage because we're going to need to pack those up because we're moving. I'm setting the stage that they're moving, but I don't need to see all of it. I don't need to see your entire Christmas orchestra of what they're doing because I can already tell by walking through their house that there's clutter everywhere. So I can only imagine that the Christmas is going to look the same. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to declutter. But yes, Christmas time, it does look nice. There are already some things in there for it. I postpone listing photos until after Halloween. Yes, absolutely. All right. If you're good one, D, thank you. If you're getting yourself in a situation where you are doing a listing, okay, and it's right at the end of a holiday, you might want to postpone those pictures. Okay. But make a good sense of what you got going on with the house during the season. That sometimes it is nice being able to go look at some of this Christmas decorations. There's a lot of people who have nice Christmas decor out. So it could make the home warm, fuzzy, nice and feeling good. So yes, definitely decorate, but within reason. All right. So number one, serious buyers. Number two, we have less competition. Number three, the house shows better. Now, here's number four. Ironically, it fits in well for what we have going on, but you need to know, and this is a conversation you can have with your lenders. They're typically in the mortgage world, there's a little bit more money right now. All right. I also know mortgage companies right now are doing everything they possibly can to get deals. So there might be some opportunities more than normal, just kind of like when you go buy a car at the end of the month. Like you go in there. I mean, how many of you have heard, raise your hand, how many of you heard that it's best to go buy a car at the end of the month, the last week of the month or the last day of the month? Why? Is because they got to get rid of their inventory. Same thing takes place in the lending world with their money. And right now, lenders are begging, borrowing, and doing everything they possibly can to get deals. So it's very important to understand that they have, hey, I know right now mortgage companies are willing to work. They're willing to do whatever they need to try to make these deals happen. So we can negotiate a little bit more. And we know that there's going to be some good buyers out there with good money that might not have been true buyers, but now they are. Now, the whole interest rates and everything else are all over the place. So as a listing, we want to double check to make sure that everything is good. And I'm going to recommend, now you don't say this during your listing presentation. This is just bonus material for you. I'm telling people all across the board right now that when you get an offer on your listing, you need to call the lender up. Okay. You need to have a conversation with the lender. You need to build an immediate relationship with that lender. Why? I see more debt to income ratio challenges than I've ever seen before. I've seen more co-signers than I've ever seen before. I've seen more gift letters than I've ever seen before. These are taking place. I did 5 this past month that either had a co-signer or a gift letter, more than I've ever seen. Okay. We need to start understanding what's going on the lending side and being prepared. Okay. So these things are taking place that are happening, that there are some more mortgage opportunities there. There's more money and there's more resources out there. Okay. Now, here's another thing. For North Carolina, for those that are you in North Carolina and for a state that has a due diligence, okay, when we do business up in New York with our team up in New York, our closings are 60 to 90 days. Okay. We've expedited some of the process and what we're doing and the way our speed is and what we're trying to create a niche up there. But closings typically take longer, right? Now, in North Carolina, how many of you are putting 21 days as your due diligence? How many of you are putting 21 days as your due diligence? Any 21 days? Put a yes in the chat. Tell me something nice. You could even scream it out loud. How many people are doing 21 days? How many of you are doing more than 21 days? I gotta believe most of us 31 to 30. Yeah. We're doing prime most of the time more than 21 days. Well, guess what happens during the holidays? Okay, it's a twofold, so that's why you got to ask the listing agent. But
you need longer.
most of the time during the holidays, you got to double check because sometimes you need longer because there's not as many people working. So you got to double check that. Also, there's not a lot of applications. There's not as many appraisals. So sometimes they actually can do it faster. So I have a conversation. Hey, lender, what are you seeing for your appraisals during the holidays? What are you seeing right now? Can I go sooner? How fast can we close this deal? Do you think I can get this done? Sometimes they say the underwriters are bored out of their mind. They only have 2 files. They're like, yeah, I could push this thing faster. So might be able to have an opportunity there to be able to push that faster in that case. So things are moving a little bit, faster or slower depending on the situation, but most of the time it's a little bit faster because there's not as many applications out there. Now, What's another good reason why we like to do this right now? Where buyers, number 6 is this. Buyers, well, it's mostly the school system. The school system right now has broken up. If you see Mooresville, actually, Mooresville School and even CMS, do you know how much time the kids now have off during the break? 2 weeks. They have a full set of 2 weeks. So people are trying to make the move and the transition in between semesters because they're running high schools and schools now as almost like colleges. So you have a semester break. So buyers right now are relocating or making their moves literally during this time period of the semester break. So this is a good opportunity to take advantage of a semester break for buyers, especially when they have kids. So number 6 is taking a look at the buyer vacation and the semester break of the school system is a good opportunity for them. All right. Number 7. Number 7 is a landscapers love this. As I look outside, people are raking. So do you have to mow your lawn every week during the wintertime? Are there weeds growing everywhere in the wintertime? Okay. Now, once these leaves fall down, after that, guys, there's not as much maintaining of your yard. And as well as your curb appeal, actually, even though it might decrease because they say, well, Brock, our yard looks terrible. Our yard looks brown. It's blah, blah, blah. Well, here's the thing. Other yards are looking the same because we're all having the same issues because it's wintertime. So we don't have as much maintaining of the yards to be able to keep it up to, you don't have to have, fresh mulch. You don't have to have those pine needles because everybody else's yard's looking at. Now, as a listing agent, I would not neglect that because we still want to separate ourselves. Guys, for an extra $200, are you willing to throw out some pine needles? Are you willing? Flowers are a great thing. Okay, I just went to Lowe's and I bought a $30 like flower plant. It's beautiful. It's got the mums on it. It's got like that oriental like grass shooting out there like it's a volcano. It's really nice. It looks beautiful. Okay. I'm telling people all the time, oh, I'm not a green thumb. Okay, all you gotta do is water it. All right. Just set an alarm on your phone and water it. But do that because it's a really good opportunity for you to be able to separate yourself from the other yards. It looks really nice, but you don't have to maintain your entire yard. You're not having to cut everything and edge and blow and go crazy every week. Okay. You typically only have to mow your yard probably like every 2 or 3 weeks, if that. So landscaping is a little bit easier during the winter months. Now, here's something. I'm going to put it in the chat here or say it out loud. Who can name me some major corporations in the Charlotte area or in an area you live in? Are there any main big time corporations that you have? Lowe's. Yeah, absolutely. Who else has some larger corporations in our area, especially in the Charlotte market? Nobody else knows any? Amazon. Yeah. Bank of America, Wells Fargo. Yeah, Christian. Right? Guys, what I would do is I would have a list of the top 5 companies in our area. I remember when it was the banana company, Chiquita Banana. I remember when that company was out here. That was a big thing. Okay. We know big corporations, if they move you, the CEOs, the big wigs, the CFOs, these chief operating systems people, they move you during this time period. Okay. So it's important that you understand that these companies actually will relocate you during this time period. So what I would do is I would call human resources. I would call these big companies and I would say, are you planning on doing any major relocating this winter time? I just want to call you if I have a listing and I want to be able to share it with you. Now guys, just to let you know, there's 102 expireds. I actually broke it down by price and I took everything from 300,000 plus. There was 82 of them. Okay. They're primarily for those that were on the 1030 call. I probably saw about at least 40% over 800,000. Now, if I have a listing appointment and they say, what are you going to do differently? How would it sound? Okay, ding, ding, bonus material, ding, ding, everybody here. How would it sound like? Well, I called 5 of the major relocation companies, Lowe's, Amazon, Bank of America, CMS, uh, Wells Fargo, whatever it is. And I heard that 2 of them are planning on doing a lot of relocating this year. And so those will be the first people I call once I get your listing. Now, how many of you think that that would be something important to say during a time period that would possibly, I don't know about you, but make you sound really good when you're at the listing table and you got several people that are, because there's a lot of people calling, right? But what's going to be you? What's your script when they say, well, what separates you? Well, I do have some contacts with some major relocation companies in our area, right? Sounds good to me. So number 8 is relocation companies. All right. Hold on. My phone was ringing. Now, I want us to put our thinking caps on and I want us to press the play button. Okay. Jim Rohn says this quite a bit. Now, you said to me, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, that you want to wait till the springtime. What is, oh, and Alyssa said Walmart, because Walmart is a big producer too. So thank you, Alyssa. I was just looking at the Facebook here. So let's press the play button. Okay. And somebody says to you, and I'm going to reach out to Greg here because I see Greg's online and he does a lot of phone calls here. Let's see if I can unmute him. We'll see if he unmutes here. We'll try this out. But one of the questions I ask people.
What do you want, man? I'm busy.
Oh, there's Greg. Okay. So we got an echo, so this won't be very good here. He's right next to me at the same token here. But Greg, if we wait till the springtime, and you just said to me, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, that you want to wait till spring. Here's the question yet. Why is that? Why do you want to wait till springtime? What do they think they're going to tell you, Greg?
Oh, there's going to be more buyers out there, more buyers looking in spring.
Okay. So if there's more buyers in the springtime, which I agree to that, do you think, here's your question, everybody. Do you think there's also going to be more sellers?
Yeah, more competition.
More competition. So thanks, Greg. So that's the thing, guys, is you want to ask them the question of what's causing them to go into the position of what they just went to. Well, I'm going to want to wait till the springtime. Okay, great. Well, why do you want to wait till the springtime? Well, I heard that there's more buyers there. Absolutely. I agree with you that there's possibly going to be some more buyers there. But let me ask you this. Do you not think that there's going to be more sellers? Because statistically, when do most homes go on the market? Springtime. We just talked about the lack of competition. Now you're going to be into a competition. Now here's a bonus question for you guys, or not a bonus question, a bonus script. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you said you want to wait till the springtime. I completely understand. Is it fair to say that the interest rates have gone up the last 6 months? What do you think they're going to tell you? Yeah, they have. Great. Now, do you think, based off of what we've seen the last 6 months and what you read out there in society and the news and everything else, do you think that there's a fair shot that the government, based off of inflation and everything else we see, do you think the interest rates are going to stay at least the same, if not go up in the next 6 months? What do you think they're going to say? Yeah, they're going to do that. So why do you want to change? Why do you want to challenge in more of a more difficult market, waiting till the springtime when we just said the competition is going to go up, the rates are going to go up, and the buyers, they're going to have more competition to figure out what they want. And if your house is not where it needs to be, and maybe some of these buyers might not be able to have the money that they have, and we might be in more of a slowdown. So why do you want to chance that? So that's something I say, that sometimes the spring market is not the best time. You want to take advantage of it. The spring market could go into a buyer's market potentially. We don't want to chance that. Okay. Number 10. Buyers are actually a little bit more emotional during this time period. Buyers are a little bit more emotional during this time period. Okay. And the reason why the emotion is there is because there's also a time period, a time crunch. How many of you, I'll just use the Panther game because it was one that I watched that was a little bit close, but just in any game in general, all right, even in the NASCAR world, all right, how many of you really don't pay attention to too much until like the last 2 minutes of the game, or the last couple laps of the race, or the last minute of a basketball game? What happens? Guys, get here, hurry up. Come on, this game's getting good. Everybody get over. We're gathering people over. We're at the edge of our seat. We're pacing. We're standing around. What takes place is the sensitivity, the time changes inside of our brain. When there's time of the essence, we get a little bit more emotional. We're trying to make decisions a little bit differently. Should we do it? Should we not do it? I don't know. There's too much time. We only got, buyers are doing the same thing because there's only a short window that they have to make this decision, especially if they have kids in school. So one of the questions I ask buyer agents who are showing a property during this time period, I say this, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer agent, I'm so excited you're showing the property. Just a couple things. I'm not trying to get anything. Like, do you mind just sharing with me a little bit about what your buyer's looking for, so I make sure that the sellers maybe there's something there I can help you procure an offer. They might start talking. They might start telling me about their kids. They might start telling me about school. Now, do you think that I didn't ask anything outside the box? I just asked them, is there anything that you could share with me that I could help you? So maybe my sellers could do something different. See, I'm asking questions more than the average agent because I'm getting information. They might say, well, their kids are out of school and they have to be able to move before they go back, or they might, their dad is doing something in reference to their business or their job. So they actually have to make a decision by the middle of December for the relocation package. Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I'll make sure the house is really clean for them. What do you think that means? That means they got to make some instantaneous decisions. That means that this weekend, they possibly could be making an offer. All hands on deck, sellers. Just be ready to go. These buyers are hot and heavy and ready to rock and roll. And I will be white on rice with this buyer's agent. I will I will look at the subdivision and be like, guys, there's no other home out here. This is a perfect time. We got to get this buyer right here. We could do that. Now, how do you think the seller is feeling? Do you think the seller feels good at that time period when I'm actually proposing this or sharing with them this type of story? I'm storytelling. So I want you to write down this. I want you to become good at telling stories. I want you to be good at telling scenarios. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, wouldn't it be great? I just want you to know part of not wouldn't it be great? I just want you to know part of my strategy and tactics that I do is I call the buyer's agents and just try to get a feel for what type of buyers they have. Sometimes they tell me some information, and sometimes we can look in the subdivision to see what our competition is, and I can use that to help play off the emotion of the buyer. How many would like that? How many would like to get a house under contract in December by asking the right questions in November? Right? So food, number 10 was emotion. Okay. Number 11, I think, Christian, you said this, is Charlotte one of the banking capitals of the United States? Is this one of the big banking cities, Charlotte? Yeah. Number 2, New York City is New York City, Philadelphia, on the Eastern coast. But Charlotte, guys, do you think a lot of these CFOs and CEOs and these investors and these people, they might have to buy some property because they got to get rid of their taxes? They don't want to get hit with a hefty tax bill at the end of the year. So some of them buy investment property. Okay. So if you have a home price that could be in a potential, like when you're calling these expireds, guys, it possibly be, some of these investors are buying anywhere from 200 to 400,000. And if you're calling expired now, you might be able to use this conversation piece. Hey, I do know that some of these, because we're in one of the banking worlds here, but banking capitals of the country, our city here in Charlotte, we have some people that might have to unleash some of their tax money. So this could be a really good opportunity to relist your home. Do you think other people are saying that on your expired withdrawing calls right now? No. I just wish people would answer the phone so I can have more conversations with people. That's my biggest challenge right now is people aren't answering their phone. 102. I might end up talking to those people under 300,000 and say that, because that's an opportunity for you guys to be able to share with that. Is people have to get rid of their tax money at the end of the year. They don't want to pay the government. I promise you. I didn't do it for 4 years. Don't do that. That gets you in big time trouble. That gets you a police officer at your door, and their letter is in a nice white envelope, and it doesn't look good at all. And it usually has some like time of the essence. So stay away from that side of things with your taxes. But for the most part, what you got to do is make sure you take advantage of that, because there's people who need to spend that. Now, so here's another question that you get. All right. Mike and I remember dealing with this one. Mike said to me, a lot of times, even during the summer, this happens. So this could be used year round. Brock, here's the thing. I'm fine with listing my house, but the issue is I got my in-laws coming in, and they're going to be here for 10 days. 10 days, Brock. Let me just tell you, I might have to come to your house. We just are not going to be able to do any showings. That's not a problem. Okay. What we'll do is two things. So during the holidays, one of the things that I recommend that you guys get really good at is you need to be able, I would do Matterport during the holidays. Okay. Because Matterport during the holidays, guys, here's your bonus. Matterport during the holidays, you can walk them through the house doing Zoom screen sharing. I got really good at this during COVID. I learned how to do Zoom. I got into, and I can go into my Matterport. I'd say, well, why don't I walk you through the house virtually? Virtually, how are you going to do that? Well, I'll personally walk you through it. We have our Matterport. I'll go into our site, and I'll take you and your client, and we'll do a Zoom screen share, and I'll walk you through the house, because right now my clients have their in-laws in there, and I'm not going to be able to get you in there for 10 days, and you told me that you want to see it. At least you can put your eyes on it to get a sense of maybe they want it, maybe they don't. And now you're sharing this with your clients. And I use this too. I add this into, I said, that's not a problem, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. What we'll do is I'll just show them the house virtually while you're in your house. Catches them every time. What? How are you going to do that? Well, I do Zoom screen share using our Matterport, and this is all part of our marketing. And I will walk them through your house while you're in here, and you won't even know we're in here. Wow. That's awesome. If you like, I'll show it to you once we get everything marketed. Would you like that? Yeah, that would be really cool. Awesome. And now I'm separating myself once again on my Matterport in my marketing for what we do. But this is a really good opportunity that when they want to do showing restrictions, not a problem at all. When do you want to see it? When don't you want to see it? When somebody wants to view the home, I say, I'll walk you through it through our Matterport. When somebody wants to view the property and you want to show them, they're like, hey, call them up and say, listen, I can't do it this Thursday because I got people coming in. Can you do it Wednesday? How about next week on Tuesday when they're out of the house? But you don't want to lose a listing because you just don't know how to answer the question that they're saying that they want the house done, or they don't want people coming through the house because they got family. We get it. That's not a problem at all. Just use those as options right there. The last one, number 13, is this, and then we'll conclude all of them. We did this a lot during the market when we were trying to work with sellers, and it was a heavy sellers market. So a lot of this part here will make some sense to you guys. What we do is we do occupancy. Okay. So you can sell the property and let the seller stay in the home and do a buyback or do a rent back or a lease back, whatever you want. Hey, we're going to sell the house on Tuesday before Christmas. You stay in the house for that week, and then you can move out after that time period. And then you can negotiate with the buyer, depending on the situation. Hey, we're charging you, we're not charging you, whatever the situation is. But lease backs, possession before close, possession after close, those are some really good ideas for you to be able to use to negotiate a sale, negotiate money. Can't do it more than 14 days. So try to keep everything within 14 days. If you go past 14 days, keep that in mind that you might have to go to a lease agreement. Also, as well as know that if you have an FHA loan, you can't do lease backs with FHA. So just double check to make sure where you're at when you're having these conversations, that you're double checking with the bank or the lender if it's an FHA or not FHA loan, and when you can lease back. And there are some things you can do in the gray area that I'm not going to say on here, but if you want to do privately, I could tell you, but I'm not doing it on this call. But there's some things you can do around that. So let's go through all 13 of them really quickly here. Number one, you got serious buyers really out there working and grinding right now because of the weather conditions, because it gets dark early. These people are real serious. You don't have as many looky-loos. Number two, competition is less. Okay. We know that already because of the market that we've been in for the last 2 years, but it's even going to be more. And you really want to drive that home and zone that in. Number three, home shows better typically when you decorate the home. Make sure within reason of what you're doing. Hey, your house is going to show a lot better, actually. It's beautiful. The Christmas tree, the lights, everything. Okay. There's plenty of mortgage money to go around, right? There's the mortgage money right now, especially because the interest rates are good. There's some opportunities there that they're not getting as many applications. They're not doing as many refinances. So there's a little bit more financial opportunity there. People are moving a little bit faster because they don't have as many applications. There's a lot of people just sitting around twiddling their thumbs. They might be able to move things faster. Now there's also a caveat that it could be moving slower because there's not as many people working. So just keep that in mind when you're doing that or when you're having those conversations with them. But you want to explore that. You want to share this stuff with them because when you're doing your listings, remember, lack of inventory means there's more piranhas out there trying to get these listings. All right. Buyers and vacation days. All right. There's a lot of opportunities because of school time, mid-semester break. There's an opportunity for these buyers to take advantage of these vacation time periods that the kids have. Number 7, easier to prepare your home because of the landscaping is not as much. Remember, go to Lowe's, get a couple flowering pots, nothing crazy, but just separate yourself. But you don't have to do a lot of yard work and manicuring your yard. All right. Number 8, have a list of 5 relocating companies. Call human resources. We just know that this is a really good opportunity for larger corporations to relocate their bigwigs. Okay. They're right now, guess what a lot of people are doing? They're cutting back. They're looking at their marketing money and they might be changing people, moving people. This is a really good opportunity for you to take advantage of that and use that during these conversations during your listing presentation. Number 9, explain to me why you want to move in the springtime. Dive deeper on waiting till the spring. Find out what their main motivation is and figure out what's causing them to do that and handle that objection. It might be the simplest thing. Well, everybody just says to wait till the springtime. All right. Well, how many people are everyone? Why do that? Let me just tell you why not to do that. Okay. Handle that objection there. Number 10, buyers are emotional. Talked about the time efficiency or the time of the essence. These situations take place where time is in the essence for people where they get a little jittery. Emotions are a little bit higher. Decisions happen. We always say emotional people make faster decisions. Number 11, tax reasons. They just got to get rid of it. They don't want to pay the government. They rather buy an investment property. Number 12 is make sure you understand when you could show property. If they have restrictions, make sure you handle that objection. Not a problem at all. Recommend getting Matterport, knowing how to do Zoom screen share, putting that into there where I can walk through your house without you even knowing. And it's a good way for us to still market your home if you have any restrictions, because we can handle your restrictions, not a problem at all. And number 13, we go back to our old days here recently of leasebacks. Okay, possession before close, possession after close, what's advantageous for either side. And then just double check that. Look at the rental market. A lot of times people, well, how do you come up with the rental? Okay, 2 different things. If you're trying to take advantage of protecting your client, then do a RPO, rental price opinion. Right, Mike Kastner does renting. Reach out to him. He does property management. See what he's got for rental rates going on in different zip codes. You can also go into the MLS and figure out the subdivisions. Okay, if I'm trying to get more money, that's what I'm doing in RPO. RPOs typically are usually higher. Some people say if I'm trying to keep the dollar amount low, then I just take their mortgage. I said, well, what's your mortgage? And we'll divide it by the number of days. Typically, that is lower. So it depends on who I'm representing and what I'm doing on that. All right. So Michelle or Alyssa or Dee, Erica, Greg, Heather, Mike, Christian, Amy's on here. Several of you that are on here, I didn't see your names, but any questions about that? Anything at all? Was that helpful? Did that help you put yourself together? Christian has something to say. I love it. I love when somebody's got something to say. What do you got, Christian?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, about the spring one. I got a listing from that one time. The lady called an agent and got a opinion on the price and everything, and the lady said, "Oh, well, now's not a good time to sell. Call me back in 3 months." Like that was literally what she told her. Her landscaper landscaped my office's building, so they called our office. I happened to pick up. I went over there. I signed the listing same day. Got her to Nevada in time for Christmas to be with the grandkids. And yeah, but it was crazy. The lady just said, "Call me in 3 months," and didn't like. I was like,
no objections.
Nah.
Yeah. Well, Mike says this all the time. Find out what their motivation is. Find out what's making them do what they need to do is the most important thing. That motivation is so important. So great stuff, Christian. Thank you for sharing on that. Anybody else have a question or a role play or something they like to add or anything on this? Was it useful? Was it helpful for you? I took up 42 minutes of your day today, and I want to make sure that I put in something that allows you to be able to.
So I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
If I'm getting feedback, you can.
No, you're good.
So this is sort of like a double-edged sword because, well, when I did real estate, I was from Michigan. So obviously, once we get into this time period, November, December, January, it can be difficult, especially if we have a big winter, because many sellers will refuse to list their home during the winter months. They don't want people, they've got to get their driveways always, plowed and iced down and salted, and it can be a challenge. But we continue to do exactly what you've said, which is you've got more serious buyers that are out looking and hunting for homes. You don't have the competition as you do in the spring. But this is now in this market, especially for the, I think this morning I said we had over 100 expireds. I've gone through 50 of them this morning. So the biggest challenge right now is, I don't know whether or not, does it matter if it's what season it is, what holiday season it is. So now you have a challenge with attrition, buyer attrition, the market going down. Now you're dealing with the holiday. So how are you going to be able to overcome the objection that I'm not even going to get my home sold in this market, let alone the holiday is coming up? So that's going to be, to me, it's like a double whammy. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, there's two things I also will say that we didn't talk about, but is the situation when you're dealing with the new year. Okay. You're absolutely right. You're not going to get, Christian and I talked about this. Okay. My coach actually has me right now saying that you need to have 6 properties in your pipeline to start the new year. I think we talked about it on the morning call. Your goal is you need to have 6 properties in your pipeline, 6 people in your pipeline that you're absolutely right. You are not going to get right away. And you need to start building up that pipeline. So the pipeline is 2 months out, and you need to start having at least a minimum of 6 opportunities 2 months out, because we're not going to force feed them. And a lot of agents, what they're doing out there is just they're coming from scarcity. And so you need to blend this. And this is a really challenging part here. This is the hardest part, is the blending part of how much is too much. So if you have somebody that calls them every 4 days, I feel it's too much. After they said, I want to sell this, can you come talk to me towards the beginning of the new year? And I say that, how about I reach back out to the beginning of the new year? Why? Because I'm building my 6 pipeline. Okay. So, but I'm not waiting till January 7th, be like, oh, okay, I'll wait till the new year, and literally wait till the new year. Somebody else will beat me to it because I've only had one conversation in 2 months. So in that time period, you have to be very soft in your approach of sending them over a thank you card, sending them over a happy Thanksgiving, sending them over a Christmas card. Things that you can put there that aren't salesy, but their touch is being like, who's this from? That's that realtor guy. I don't know. I told him I meet him at the beginning of the new year, but here he is setting this up, doing something like that. So keep that in mind when you're doing it. But you're absolutely right. This is not a round peg in a square hole. There are some situations out there that you just have to be cognitive of, because we're still coming off the COVID market. We're still coming off homes still selling, quickly. There are homes that are still selling, moving fast because of where they are, the lack of inventory. That's not disappearing, but you just want to be able to keep front of mind with them, put them in the pipeline, and build them up over time, because they could be something that you have in the near future. So hopefully that helps answer your question to some degree. Cool. So a couple key things before people go here. On Thursday, November 3rd, I'm going to be putting in the chat here. It's brockandchad.com. I like to always create these different websites, but brockandchad.com. We're actually starting Money and Mindset. Money and Mindset, guy from Nashville. Him and I partnered together. We're going to talk about how money and mindset and the abundance and scarcity, and money is a lot of people say money is a source, but it's actually a resource. And he's going to be doing a lot of the speaking, and he's going to be sharing what that looks like. It actually is in the Facebook, and so it's in Facebook right now on the chats that we have. And then I think Jay is going to be able to put it into the chat for our whatchamacallit, Zoom. But we have that November 3rd. On November 8th, okay, if there's anything you go to right now, I'm going to tell you the most important class that I'm learning is on November 8th. It's the 2-for-1 buy down. The 2-for-1 buy down, and how to negotiate, because people are saying to us, we don't want to buy because of why? Where are the rates? They're high. They don't want to buy because they're high. Well, if I can get your rate lower, would you buy? Well, how are you going to do that? That's not your problem. That's my problem. If I get the rates lower, will you buy this house? Well, yeah, Brock. Okay, great. I'll take care of it from here. But being able to have that, and the 2-for-1 buy down, I'm going to be teaching that with Hayden. That is Tuesday at 1:00. So we will be, that's also voting day. So make sure you vote. I believe it's voting day. Make sure you vote, and then come here and talk to us on the 2-for-1 buy down. It's been great. I've learned a lot on how to do that. So we're going to do that on November 8th, and we'll have that. So keep track of our the Brock Zevan's Mindset Facebook page, because that will be on there. So you'll have November 3rd, it's the Money and Mindset. November 8th is the 2-for-1 buy down. And November 17th, we're doing the 2023 success plan. So we're going to take care of you. It's going to be a really nice lunch at North Harbor Club. It's a 3-hour class. Chad is actually driving up from South Carolina, and we will go over your entire business plan to get you all set up, as well as to get you situated on your taxes, on your money, how to be able to get your business, and how to build an entire game plan and how you're making money. Like literally, even though mine looks like chicken scratch, but you will be able to see here how you're going to be able to make your income, what you're going to do, where it's going to come from, and we're going to build a plan around that. So that way, just like anything, if you're driving someplace, isn't it nice to know the address? Is your success a lot better when you know the address and where you're supposed to go? And we're going to be building that out. So our next session is the next 2 sessions are our free sessions, and then the one on November 17th, $197, includes the lunch, the 3-hour course, a book, and some really, really good information on that November 17th for our North Harbor 2023 business plan. So that is what I got, guys. Guys, if you can, as always, love the thumbs up, love the hearts, love the information. Take a look at our Facebook page. It's got this was recorded. So if you want to get more information or share it with somebody, take a listen to the recording on there. You also will see all our websites, all our classes and events that we're doing over the next 2 weeks. So guys, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you all being on here. It was great. 50 minutes. We knocked it out, and hopefully you guys got some good resource and material to talk to some clients when they tell you we want to wait and we're not really interested, as well as build up your pipeline for January. Guys, anybody have anything? All right, guys. Appreciate you all. Have a phenomenal rest of your day. Make something happen. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Dee, Greg, Erica, Amy, all those on Facebook, Ty, and Michelle, and there's Amy. So try to call up some people's names that I had on here. So thank you so much. Go be awesome. Yes, you got it, D. You guys have a great day. Enjoy. It's beautiful out here in Charlotte. Thank you guys so much. Thanks, Mike. We'll see you guys. Bye.